Welcome to today's lesson, which is based on algebra, a self-assessment and revision lesson. So we will be looking at topics that you should know, and you will be reflecting on topics that you need more help or more support in terms of revision. So the main areas we'll be looking at is collecting like terms, algebraic simplification, which includes multiplication and division, expanding brackets, factorization, substitution, sequences, which is term to term rule, position to term rule, and finding the nth term. We'll also be looking at solving equation, that is a basic one-step equation, two-step equations, and equations involving brackets. Now, other areas that you should know and you should revise, but we will look at that in the next video, is rearranging formulas, which is basic and harder questions, horizontal and vertical lines, straight line graphs, which includes the introduction, the gradient of a line, and equation of a line, which is y equals to mx plus c. In the next video, we'll also be looking at drawing graphs of quadratic functions. So the revision today will be mapped onto MathWatch. So most of you do have your MathWatch login. So for revision purposes, you will need to have to look at some videos there. So if you're unsure and you do need to revise on a certain area, log on to MathWatch. I will attach the clips there where, say, for example, you want to look at solving basic equations. That will be clip A12. So you can always go in there and do your revision. So the first part is I can simplify expression by collecting like terms. I would encourage you to look at those questions there, and then traffic light. How do you feel? Do you feel you're on green? If you are happy that you are on green, I know how to do this, then go ahead and do the questions. If you're unsure, you're on amber, you're unsure on some questions, still go ahead and do the questions. And if you're totally confused, you do not know how to do it, then I would encourage you to go onto the link at the bottom there, clip number 188, and revise, then come back and do the questions. And at the end of it, once you've done your revision or you've done the questions, traffic light again to see where you are at with as far as simplifying expressions by collecting like terms is concerned. The next part we'll look at is I can simplify and divide algebraic expression. Again, how do you feel about this? Are you on green, amber, or red? So traffic light that. If you're unsure, again, I would encourage you to go to MathWatch clip 704, go through the lesson, and then come back and do the questions. But if you're sure, just carry on and do the questions there. So that is multiplication. Division questions are there, and the link for revising division is provided at the bottom there. Moving on. So we look at, I can expand brackets and simplify expressions. Now, if you look at this, question 1 is quite basic. Question 2 includes negative numbers because students do get confused there. Question 3 has letters outside the brackets. Question 4 and 5 has two brackets there, expand the brackets, and then simplify. So do the questions if you feel confident that you can do those kind of questions. If not, revise and then come back and do the questions. I can factorize expressions. Now, can you do that? Can you factorize expressions? Are you on green there? Are you on amber or red? Now, question 1 is much simpler than question 2. Question 3 and 4, very similar. But do the questions there, and if you're confused, again, the clip is provided there. The next part is on substitution. I can substitute values into given expressions and formulas. Now, can you do that? Well, I'm hoping that some of you can do question 1 till question number 8. Question 9 is you are given a worded question for you to solve. It shouldn't be very difficult, but if you're still confused on that, the clip is provided for you to revise. Again, remember to traffic light depending on how you feel at the beginning of attempting to do these questions. And once you've done them at the end, how do you feel about that? The answers will be provided in the next video. I can work out the nth term of a linear sequence. Now, looking at question number 1 there, you just expected to come up with the next two terms in that sequence. 2 is finding the nth term of the sequence. If you do need to revise a bit of this, the clip will be provided at the end there. And then question 3 and 4 is just substituting into the formula that is given, the rule that is given there. So for n plus 3, you need to come up with the first 5 terms of the sequence. That is when n equals to 1, when n equals to 2, n equals to 3, 4, and 5. So again, don't forget to traffic light, and if you do need to revise, it's clip 710. Solving equations. Now, with the solving equations, some students can do one-step method, basic equations there, or the two-step methods, and the next one is involving brackets. Now, traffic light, because some questions here you might be able to do, some you might need more support in terms of the clips down there. And on the fourth question there is when you've got unknowns on both sides. Which questions can you do? Which questions do you need more help? Moving on from there, we come to the end of the lesson. This area will be covered in the next video, which is to rearrange formulas, both basic and harder questions, horizontal and vertical lines, straight line graphs, that is the introduction of it, finding the gradient, and also coming up with the equation of a line, which is y equals to mx plus c, and drawing graphs of quadratic functions. That will be covered in the next video, and also the answers